Welcome back, everybody. We got ourselves a new gameplay update 7.31D. It is not some massive update. It is a letter patch, but I do believe it is going to have a significant impact on what heroes are actually good in Dota.
Banana Slam Jam.
We are going to talk about the effects it's going to have on the meta. I think it will significantly adjust what the meta heroes are. Notice most notably from last patch, the broken heroes at the competitive level were Pugna, CK, Enigma, Visage, Storm Spirit, etc. And we're going to get into it. So first and foremost, the most notable change is Marcy. She got added to Captain's Mode. They buffed her ultimate cooldown a little bit, but they did nerf Dispose slightly. I think the hero will be good. Not first pickable, but I think her laning stage is really strong. She's a really good lane kill duo person, and add her to the pool of 4 positions. I think core Marcy might come back because of the ult buff, but she is heavily reliant upon BKB, and that did get nerfed. Shaman can no longer cheese Roche. Just a little side note for everybody. Okay, the big item changes. The most notable item changes. Null Talisman no longer grants mana cost reduction. Pretty much the only hero in the game that really gets screwed by this is Storm Spirit. I think Storm Spirit pretty much goes from hero to zero with this change. I would be surprised if we see Storm Spirit really at all. Maybe as a situational last pick, but that's about it. The max mana is like okay, but max mana, like what Null Talisman did is it accelerates your farm by giving you mana regen and reducing the cost of your spells. Max mana doesn't really accelerate you. You don't you don't see people when they're looking to farm buy the mana booster. They will buy a Void Stone. So that alone kind of tells you like the nerf that Null Talisman has. Another huge nerf is the fact that duration on Salve is halved when cast on an ally. To be clear, it heals you half as much total. So rather than being about 400 health heal from Salve, it's now about 200 if you cast it on an ally. So I think the biggest buff about this item is that it's going to buff carries with innate sustain, heroes like Jug with Healing Ward, Lifestealer with Feast, and it's also going to buff healing supports like Warlock and Witch Doctor being the 2 best healing supports in lane, like the 2 supports that can potentially heal the most. Other heroes like Dazzle and Treant Protector are worth mentioning, but I think Warlock and Witch Doctor get pretty significantly buffed by the nerf to Salve. Heroes that were like Salve bitches, like Bane, I think got nerfed pretty hard because these heroes wanted to fight a lot, they didn't need items, and they needed their carry to help them fight. And the only reason carries are willing to help you fight and lose all their health helping you is because you salve them afterwards. So I think it will nerf a lot of supports like that. Black King Bar, noticeable cooldown increase. So the biggest thing about this note is that heroes that bought BKB still need to buy BKB. Heroes that are bad against BKB got buffed. My most notable ones are Earthshaker and Elder Titan being big winners of the patch because of this. Heroes that literally go from heroes to zeros when the opponent's BKB'd. Also, Leshrac is of consideration because how good BKB was against him as well. And also that heroes with built-in BKBs are way better. This alone makes me predict that Elder Titan Core will likely be a thing because it got buffed and his Ag Scepter is a BKB. And also Jug and Lifestealer. Jug was already seeing a lot of play last patch, did not get touched, and Lifestealer got a minor buff, and because of the combination of the salve as well as the BKB nerf, I think these heroes are going to go way up in value. Also, heroes that don't have to buy BKB in the core role, such as Terrorblade, such as like Naga Siren, Illusion Heroes, PL, they will naturally be better. Heroes that heavily rely on BKB will naturally be worse. Will BKB be bought any less? I wouldn't say it's going to be bought much less, except for the fact that there's going to be a lot of heroes purposely picked because they don't have to buy one. Otherwise, the nerfs, the changes to items aren't that big of a deal to me. They did nerf Satanic, but then they buffed the magic damage equivalent of Satanic. So this whole change for me, it's minor, but it tilts in favor of heroes like Bristleback and Leshrac, heroes that are sustain-based magic or spellcasters. Bristleback, using quills, that would buy these types of items that also don't need BKBs necessarily. Bristleback most notably. So these are heroes I definitely want to try. Leshrac and Bristleback with these new items. The Bloodstone allows you to spam it to keep your mana up, which is really nice because this is however much spell lifesteal you have is how much mana you get back, and then you can spam it more often. So Bloodstone can be more of a farming item now. This is why Leshrac really stands out to me. So I'm definitely going to be trying Lesh. Only issue is that Lifestealer and Jug would probably be very bad matchups for heroes like this. Wraith Pack got nerfed. It was the most broken item of last patch. I don't think gets much of a nerf though. Like, yes, the bounty is a decent deal and you can see it and it's one less attack, but the item's still the same. I'm pretty sure in competitive games, instead of seeing 2 Wraith packs 100% of the time, you'll see an average of like 1.7 Wraith packs per game. So there's a ton of hero changes. I'm just going to go ahead and make a list of heroes to look out for that I think will be really strong and that I want to test, and heroes that I think got nerfed pretty hard. So I'm going to first highlight heroes that were known to be broken last patch. So we talked about Chaos Knight. He was broken in every bracket. His laning stage level 1 got significantly nerfed. I think the hero is still the exact same hero. He just isn't auto win in every single lane matchup. He's wins most lane matchups still, but he's not auto win first pick. You're going to win every matchup. Otherwise, the hero's the exact same. BKB being nerfed kind of hurts him a bit, but not as much as it hurts other heroes. Storm Spirit, absolutely gutted. He didn't even get changed as a hero, though. Coddle core in competitive was seen a lot. I think the nerf to his Illuminate level 1 predominantly affects core Coddle. Pugna Ward got nerfed minorly, which is the part of the hero that made him incredibly strong. I think this hero goes from a brain dead first pick, like you just first pick him every single game, to being maybe some teams don't first pick him, and in your pubs, you can probably still first pick him if you're trying to learn support. Towards the end of last patch, Enigma gained a ton of popularity at the Major and also in pubs, mainly because of how ridiculously strong his laning phase was, and he could also build all these aura items or teamfight items, whatever approach he needed. But they made Demonic Conversion even longer cooldown at all levels, especially level 1. I think we'll still see the hero. If you like playing Enigma, if you want to try to learn Enigma, I think this will still be a good hero this patch. But definitely significantly nerfed to a point where he's not just probably first pickable every single game like people are picking. Now, big winners of the patch. I think Witch Doctor Warlock, if you're looking for more of a melee hero, maybe Treant Protector. A lot of these heroes that were salve bitches, not so much, such as Bane. Heroes that like to harass, but don't need their carry to really help them, things like CM, might be really strong as well. Basically, any hero that wanted his carry to fight with them, and then salve them, is much worse at the 5. Heroes like Bane, but healing support's way up in value. 4 position heroes. So last patch for 4 position, the offlane meta was much more about these heroes that rushed BKB. I think that's going to be worse because of obviously the BKB nerf, and also heroes like Mars also got nerfed. So I think the offlane might actually be more about annoying ranged heroes that once you pop BKB serve no purpose, like Viper, Veno, Necro, stuff like this, because without BKBs, it feels really hard to play against these heroes. And as the BKB duration goes down, these heroes become menaces. So in that case, I think the 4 position might actually take a shift from more of these ranged damage dealers that synergize with stunning offlaners to more of a melee heavy 4 position that punishes no BKBs. Like, rather than having your offlaner be a BKB builder that stuns people, why not have your offlaner be this annoying ranged guy and then have your 4 position kill the people that don't have BKBs? Earthshaker, Earth Spirit, Marcy. I think these are going to be the 4 positions that we see a lot. 4 position meta is almost always influenced by the 3. So I would just like to remind you guys, even though I've said this in a lot of videos, please, if you have a melee 4, pick a ranged 3. If you have a melee 3, pick a ranged 4. Vice versa, guys. It's just how strong dual lanes are created. When it comes to 3, I really want to try a few heroes. Mars got a significant nerf. Base damage by 3 on Mars is huge for his lane because his spell that he wins lanes with also uses his base damage. So I think he's going to be kind of falling off. I think the aura offlaners are going to be really strong because they didn't really nerf Wraith Pact all that much, and maybe you just don't have to buy the full Wraith Pact. You can just buy like Vlad's or Helmdom. So Lycan got buffed. I think Beastmaster was being really good previously. So all these like ranged annoying heroes, and then also these aura buying offlaners, I think are going to be way stronger. Offlaners that don't have to buy a BKB themselves, I think will be very good. I also think is Clockwork, a hero that in his entire history has never been able to farm. But Battery Assault dealing 2x damage to creeps, you can definitely easily clear creep waves. Probably easily farm like hard camps with this. Like if you just go 4-1-1, I would imagine you can just clear a hard camp every time you pop this spell. So for a hero that is like low cooldown, as a core he wouldn't buy BKB, I think he's going to be very good. The issue is that his bad matchups are Jug and Lifestealer, and we'll get to that exactly why that matters, but, you know, spoiler alert. But yeah, I think this hero will be very good against carries that are ranged, that can't get out of cogs, you know, like the Drows and the, you know, Medusa type heroes. 2 position in the mid lane. One hero I really want to try is Lina. They buffed her magic damage build. Only hesitation I have with this hero is that she got nerfed to BKB and she heavily relies on it if you go the right click build. But I really want to try Lina mid with the like Mana Boots, Kaya, like Aetherlin's Shard build. and just be a spellcaster. I really want to try this build with Lina. I also really want to try mid Lich. I know this seems like a meme, but they drastically reduce the mana cost on its Frost Blast, and any of these mids that are just garbage against BKBs, like supports that could kind of mid, but if you buy BKBs, they're literally useless, I think are just going to go way up in value. I think Leshrac is actually going to be one of the best mids. I will be playing Lesh because of all the before mentioned changes. I think mobility heroes will still be king. I think Pangolier as a core got significantly hurt in the patch. We mentioned Storm Spirit getting nerfed. I think the other two spirits will still be very good. Void Spirit and Ember Spirit. I think Zeus with Bloodstone might be a real build. It gives you a lot more mana now. One hero I really want to try is Pudge now as a core. All of these buffs are good for him as a core. We are actually seeing a bit of Pudge towards the end of the patch. People were like unironically trying it in 2 position especially. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but base damage by 3 is certainly relevant on any core hero, and the damage block is really good against certain matchups. Like Pudge against Ember mid, for instance, right? Like Flame Guard's a bunch of small instances. It just does 0 damage to you when you have this activated. So I'm definitely going to try Core Pudge against damage over time heroes, whether I'm 2 or 1. I think it's unironically good buffs for this hero, and combined with the Eternal Shroud being a part of his Ags build. Let's go ahead and get into my favorite role, the 1 position. So the biggest changes for 1 position, just to rehash, are the fact that BKB got nerfed. Jug, Lifestealer, Weaver, Illusion heroes, such as TB and PL, both of which got relevant buffs in my opinion. So TB got 15 extra damage on his level 1 meta. That is insane. I actually can't believe they did this shit. I think Terrorblade is going to be top tier. Top freaking tier. This hero buys BKB sometimes, like maybe half of his games, or eventually he'll buy one. But a lot of times he just goes like Manta Scotty. You know, this hero can just ignore BKB for a long time. And most notably, a lot of cores in the previous patch were farming with BKB. Like, they would buy BKB, farm by themselves, play aggressively on the map, such that they could get more farm because they bought a BKB. And that's just not viable anymore. So heroes that don't need BKB to farm at all is, like, really good right now. So Terrorblade goes up massively. And then we mentioned PL, whose cooldown on Doppel got drastically lowered in his laning stage. And then his level 20 talent drastically buffed the juxtapose damage. So I think you actually take that most of the time now in terms of how big of a buff this is. So I will be trying PL, I will be trying TB, but my big breadwinner, I think the best carry of this entire patch will be Jug. He has absolutely no changes. He was already a very high win rate last patch. None of his items got nerfed, so I think Jug will go way up. I believe Jug's stonks are at the highest they've ever been. I will be spamming Jug. He will be my hero. I think he's going to be the best carry this patch. With that in mind, I think Lifestealer will be a nice reject Jug. In games where you wish you could pick Jug and it's banned, Lifestealer will be your pick. I really do think that the change to salves, as well as the fact that this hero received a slight buff and the nerf to BKB, will be enough to make this hero good. Probably like Armlet Deso. You might consider going Maelstrom if you need to farm more, or you're against an Illusion hero on this hero. But yeah, Lifestealer will be a nice reject Jug this patch, I think. Look out for these carry heroes. Special shout out to Weaver. I think Weaver was an unsung hero of last patch. Like, he was underrated last patch. Got a slight buff. Doesn't need BKB every game. And that's it for me for this patch. I will keep you guys posted. I'll probably do a more official tier list next week. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. I know I've said this for other patches, but see you next time. 7.31D. Bye.